Call the workshop to order.
All right, we'll start off with the plans and specs for the bathhouse. Up on the board, you'll see is the grading and site improvements for Wacona Park. As we all know, that the splash pad has changed the sites and is moving down by the pool. So in your packet that you have in front of you, this is a layout of how the splash pad is going to lay out by the swimming pool. And you'll see a future playground area. You'll see where the basketball court is, off-street parking. But the bathhouse is what we need to talk about tonight. So the splash pad requires bathrooms to operate. And we know that we're in a situation at the pool that our bathhouse is to a point that the plumbing is severely bad, and we're looking at this improvement. So in your packet, you'll see that there's some renderings in regards to what the new bathhouse would look like. So the bathhouse would have 3 bathrooms on the outside that would be for camping and for the splash pad. These bathrooms would consist of showers and a stall. Then further down there is where you walk in to go to the pool, which will house the concession area. And you go, one side goes men's and one side goes women. I know, it's a pretty tiny picture, sorry. When you get through into the pool, there is a family bathroom also, and a mechanical room. So tonight, we need to discuss, to go out for plans, or to approve the plans and specs, and then to go out to advertise and get bids on it, to see what the market is bringing in on this building. And I'm hoping that Matt, maybe you want to elaborate a little bit more on the building, or Wade.
In what way?
What?
In what way?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a,
I don't know what we need to.
it's a block building, we're sending it out to see what the numbers come back on, and that's really, to figure out if we need to cut, change, adjust. That's really about it.
And this eliminates the need for where the current concession stands, the current restrooms are, correct?
That would be demolished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I guess I can see here, concessions are both accessed from the outside and inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could close the 2 doors that go into the pool and keep the concessions open. So if the pool was closed, you can have the concessions open, splash pad going. You could also use it for the campground hub. You could use it for numerous different things, even if the pool was closed.
So from a timeline perspective, we approve this for release for bids.
Would be, your bidding would start December. Your bid date would be January 14th.
Yeah.
The bids would come back, and that's when we would analyze if this is feasible to continue, or like
Or
I
we need to
said.
make changes.
Or if we need to shift.
So, and say that it comes back, it's something we can accept. We'd be looking at a spring 2026 build date.
Yeah.
Yes.
From a site plan perspective, is there any cost figured into the plan and specs for that site being prepped? Or is that gonna be on Dustin to do it
And
because he was
that's,
kind of planning on doing the rest.
I believe in the fines inspection, there was no overdoing it on the site. I mean, you still, that elevation needs to get up there for the splash pad and everything else. So I think the prep work, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt and Wade, that the prep work, basically just getting it graded, would be done. And then the utilities, I think, are in the specs for them to bring the utilities in, correct?
From the old site to this site, there are a few different challenges. For one, elevation. You just brought up the old site was flat. This one has a significant slope. There is also a 12-inch water main that runs right underneath this proposed area that feeds out to the new subdivision for New Heights, and there is also a 2-inch forced sewer main that comes from the campground lift station that goes underneath this site too. Along with the fencing around the basketball court, the putting removal past the basketball court, so there's added things to this site.
But none of that's gonna be included in the bid price that we're gonna be asking for.
Not for the bathhouse, as far as I understand.
No, if it's just the bathhouse.
There's some logistical and there's some overlap on
Yes.
where things, what makes more sense for one guy to pick up while
Right.
they're excavating or grading or something like that. There's probably a little bit of overlap, but it's.
But just so everybody's aware that if this does get approved and we move forward, we're gonna have to let Dustin know that this is gonna be a priority in the spring to get at least the bathhouse site prepped. Correct?
Yes, but.
Or is that something the city's gonna maybe do, or what?
Even so, if it comes back from the,
Or it's something to let the hydro or whatever?
right, and he's got some overlap in there, some of it's included in the spec.
Sure.
And it would be an end of, what did they say, September finish, I think we probably put on it. They didn't think it would be too much of a push to.
Actually, we got an August date for an end date, and then that's when we were just talking about liquid damages and stuff like that.
August 15th is anticipated substantial completion date.
Yeah.
That might be ambitious,
Just depending on how well it is.
things like that.
Well, all the conversations I've had with Dustin and the people he's got that are volunteering in-kind work and stuff, I think they're all pretty excited to get going on it, but just logistically, there's gonna have to be some pretty good communication to figure out,
And it could be a lot of work.
how it's all gonna work out. Especially with the rest of Center Street and everything else going on potentially next year. No problem.
No problem. No, so tonight it is on the agenda to go out to see what we're dealing with for money wise.
And then did the final bid spec have the alternatives kind of that we talked about figured in? So we'll have multiple alternatives to kind of see what cost analysis would look like.
You're supposed to be.
Okay.
I will request a copy of the ad and send it out to you guys before it actually gets submitted, so we have all of that the way you guys want it.
The only other question I guess I would have is if this does all get approved and go through, are we gonna have to change things as far as pool operation goes? Move the fence in, maybe put up privacy screens and stuff to keep construction debris out of the pool and stuff like that? I mean, we might wanna put up some stuff to kind of screen it off if they're gonna be building it all summer where there's kids at the pool. Just a thought.
Right now, the proposed apron around the bathhouse is still, at 4 or 5 foot away from the outside fence.
Okay,
So there won't really be an overlap. I guess you could say of construction, I'm gonna be right here against the fence, there's gonna be people working right there, but intrude on
So if nothing else, maybe a privacy screen or something like that would probably take care of it, just so that there's.
Probably, yeah. They'll give the kids something to watch during 10-minute breaks.
There you go.
Questions, thoughts, anything else?
I mean, I know there was a lot of discussion about, scaling it back and other things, but I do think it's probably best for us to go first at this side of the building and this footprint and see what the numbers really look like. I think it's gonna be the most advantageous for us to have the availability for campers and more of a all-inclusive type facility from a restroom and, servicing the Splash Pad campground and pool. And it kills a lot of birds with one stone there.
Okay.
Do you want this up for the rest of the meeting now?
Good to have that in administrative item.
What?
We go cold through this.
That's actually a resolution.
It's a resolution.
Resolution approving plans and specs and order and advertising for bids.
Oh.
All right, move on to the next agenda item.
Yep.
All right, the next agenda item is the police contract. You all received a copy in regards to the addendum, in regards to the pricing. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns in that regard?
Does that cost have assets
No,
in it?
the sale of the assets, no.
Have they worked up a list of what they'd actually want?
Not yet.
Okay. The other question I guess I would have is maybe something we've talked about. If we do approve this contract moving forward, it is substantially less than what was in the 2026 budget expenses. And we've talked about putting that into the capital account and holding it for if we want to recreate an apartment down the road, or if we, want to offset future contracts or whatever we want to do. Maybe we don't need to set a cap for that now, but at some point I think we need to get to a comfortable level point in that capital fund and maybe just add to it for inflationary purposes only and not, even through this 4-year contract, that's probably going to be more than we want in that capital account at the end of the 4-year contract if we go through with it. So I guess what I would say is we can kind of figure out what that sweet spot is, get there, and then just add, whether it's 10% or whatever, annually to keep up with inflation, and then reallocate the rest of that difference.
I agree, there needs to be a cap on it, and what that cap is, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's something maybe we can, have further discussions with
Yeah,
police commissioner or whatever down the road, but
and right now, as I stated it in your agenda packet, the cost came in at $539,000 with a 3.25% increase for each year of the contract. Our current budget for 2026 is 737,000 and 51,000 in revenues. The 2026 budget, I feel, I'm guessing that we've all agreed upon will remain the same. So we'll subtract the $51,000 of revenues because of the not receiving the police aid. So technically the budget then, subtracting that 51,000 of revenues would come in at 686,000 of expenses. But keeping that or whatever would allow us to deal with extra expenditures and try to figure out that where we need to be and what we need to allocate. But anything left over will be allocated to the police capital at the end of 2026. And when we go through our budgeting time, then I think that's when we start figuring out where we feel comfortable with.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're talking 145.
146.
Yeah.
146, but then assets on there, all the card spots.
Right.
Depending on what we end up for.
And maybe that's fine, you know, for the first 2 years and then drop it back substantially for the next 2 or whatever.
Yeah, I think you'll find that it's gonna have to stay there for at least 3 months.
And maybe that's the case. I mean, what would you be comfortable at as far as $500,000,
Yeah.
probably?
Yeah, I think 500,000 would probably be a starter. I mean, the good thing is you already have that budgeted for, you already have a budget. It's not like your budget is gone.
Right.
As far as your police, so if it had to essentially start over again, you're 500 plus
What you got budgeted.
600 and some, so
Or you're just taking that
you're at 1112.
that 2029 number and basically shooting for that target right there,
Yeah.
of 594 even, just as, that's what it was, costing us contracted out. At least we'd have something to start with from that.
Well, Rob, do you recall what those squads were they 60,000, 70,000?
Yeah, we 60 grand now, fully outfitted equipment. It's probably more than that with the, stuff that's gonna need to be upgraded in it, so.
Yeah. So I call it 75 apiece.
Yeah, chunk of it right there.
Does the county receive the police aid we were getting?
Yep.
Okay, so it's still coming to the county, or coming to this
Yeah,
area?
we'll go to the county, yes. And that's actually noted in that addendum.
And then during one of the police commissioners, when we were discussing contract, Jared was gonna look into, I think it was the SWAT services or the emergency response team services, and then also the drug task force numbers,
And, yep, so I gave them those numbers.
and those are figured into this.
No, we need to decide if we're gonna continue that or not.
Okay. But do you know roughly, was it like 10 grand extra to be part of that, or was it more than that?
4,000, I'm just gonna say $4,250. It went up from $3,900 up to $4,250. I'm just gonna say that.
And that was like to be able, that was a SWAT response one, or?
And actually, I think we can see it in Glenn's numbers right there that he's got in front of him. No, in your portfolio thing that you have in regards to numbers. But either way, it's not as expensive as we thought it was.
But it's not gonna be part of the contract, it's gonna be something we're gonna have as a secondary expense of the police budget.
This one.
Yeah, we'll have to pay for it.
Okay.
And then basically, didn't he say more of an
Yeah.
insurance policy?
It's like an annual subscription to, what's it actually called?
For what, the SWAT team?
Well, the SWAT team and
Team
the,
and then the drug task force.
yeah.
I take that back, this last year was $4,725, and then I put the 5% increase, so $4,900.
Because otherwise you pay so much per hour after the initial call if you're not part of
Yeah, as long as those are kind of cleared up and either in or out. I know they had talked about it both ways, but I guess if it's just gonna be coming out of our police budget secondary, that's fine too. Doesn't matter.
And those are some of the extra expenses that I don't know where we sit. So
You're
I
right,
don't really want to
right.
mess with it until we got through this first year, just
Yeah.
kind of see where everything is at.
Yep.
Yeah, they
Built into your budget, like,
well, right,
your-
yeah. Well, the thing is like the drug task force, that's per capita, isn't it, Rob? Yeah, so it's so much per capita, so it'd just be added on to our dues.
Any other questions? Brian?
You answered mine today.
Public?
Is there going to be any further discussion from the public regarding this contract or anything?
I think this was kind of supposed to be the
Yeah.
public interaction portion.
I guess, yeah, I mean, obviously I read the contract and its terms and all makes sense and it's appropriate.
Pretty much mirrored Eagle Lakes for the most part.
Yes.
Mhm.
You have a concern?
No, I just, I'm probably more active than most of you guys are on social media, and I've seen a lot of individuals comment, and make a number of different comments, and so in preparation for being here, I was prepared to kind of talk about, what it would really take to continue a police department here as far as increasing levies or where we could actually cut things to, because I've been sat through so many budget meetings over the last 12, 13 years. I know where the money's at and where we can find money, but it would, just my thought of keeping it would, you would have to increase the levy significantly to bridge the gap in wages. That's the key component here in my perspective. The benefits are there, but the wages are the significant gap that we face, and that's why we're going the direction that we are. That's just simple mathematics, pragmatic approach. So that's just my thoughts on it. In case anybody else comes or watches this meeting at a later date, I realistically think you have to double the levy in order to bridge the gap of the amount of revenue you need to properly get 4 officers with supervisors, just based on the competitive wage. And I learned more about it this last time when we did the negotiation on the contract, just comparatively looking with the mediator on what do we look like here in Adelia versus other smaller communities, and we were behind, and then even with the increases that we did give. So, yeah, it's not the best situation to be in for any small community, but I'm hopeful that we can work with whoever gets assigned here to continue public nuisance enforcement, my favorite thing to pursue, but and have it be similar to what we have already. So it's not an easy decision, and I think we'd have to increase tax revenue significantly to be competitive, to fill the spaces that we have open now. That's just all my thoughts that I was prepared to share here or talk to the folks about here in Adelia. It's not an easy decision. It's been something that's talked about as long as I've been the city attorney, and yeah. That's all I think I have on that.
Well, I think some of the historical data too, and Jim brought this up, I mean, this was approached 20-something years ago, and they walked away from it because we weren't in the same situation we're in now with the relationship between the city and the county. So, I mean, it's a different situation. I do have, that does bring up a question. So this version that you sent us, is the sheriff has seen this version? This is the one he's going to take to the commissioners?
Yeah.
With what Patrick had suggested adding?
Yeah, so this contract has been looked at by Patrick, by the League of Minnesota Cities, and by Julie Kelly, the county attorney. Kelly, Pauling, Jared, the sheriff. So everybody's gone through it. The police commission, the council, all has got a copy now. But if you feel that there needs to be changes or anything added or taken out, now is our opportunity to discuss that too.
The only thing I can think of, there's nothing to add or take out. In some areas, we don't necessarily know what we don't know. And so as we go through this process, we'll find those things and we'll address them appropriately.
That was one of the main things that me and Matt talked about with Jared and Mark, was just an open line of communication, and whether that's, email, quarterly meetings, whatever it takes to just make sure that after January 1 and moving forward, there's an open line of communication with everybody to hopefully make sure both parties are getting what they want out of the agreement. I mean, that's something we're just going to have to do. Well, because Chris is going to hear from the community if something goes wrong. We're going to have to relay that to them, so that's going to be the main thing, is just having that open line of communication moving forward if approved.
Well, the way the department exists now, my understanding is that communication of how the department's doing, what it's focused on, what its challenges are, went through the police commission, and that's where the routine communication took place.
That's not what,
How does that work at the county?
as far as,
Does that, the sheriff's office comes in and says, okay, these are the challenges we're facing, this is what we're seeing happening, how does the communication between the sheriff's office and the commissioners?
I don't hear much. I mean, Sheriff Martin did a pretty good job, and as long as they stay within budget, we can write Mark.
Yeah. Well, there's something we need, we always come to them, and if there's concern, they always have talked to us before in the past, and, I think the sheriff and Kelly meet at least once a week, whether it's just going down just to.
County commissioners, let's want to purchase something. I mean, rarely, in the 5 years I've been on there, we just won't see you much. It works you do a pretty good job.
This is obviously a situation that's gonna be a little different where, we would be, your guys' input with us would be a lot more differently than it is on the county.
And the mechanism's there.
and I think it's going to be like anything else, there's going to be maybe some growing pains and maybe some stuff that needs to get worked out, but it's like anything else that changes.
My hope would be that, to your point about the social media piece, before somebody expresses an opinion, they take the time to get the facts. I realize it doesn't happen in every case.
That's going to lie.
It doesn't happen in every case, but that would be ideal.
In the 21st century, that is a huge ask.
There's a lot of work that went into this, and this is not something that just happened. You have something, Kevin?
I just think the city should write in the contract for the transfer investigator over there, because I take treats to the, he almost tackles me every time. I think sweet meat sales go up by 10%. Am I wrong?
There's Center Street update, looks like all the signs are down,
All the signs are down.
they're going up for the year,
Yep.
just in time for the first snow.
Yep.
Nice. Is there gonna be delineators on those bump outs?
I don't know.
Maybe some fluorescent paint for the winter?
Wade and I were talking
I
about.
watched a couple people run them over. Oh, yeah.
Wade and I were discussing the email that you sent in regards to the flower pots.
Well, that's down the road, but.
But their
Maybe a
bollards
little-
or something put in, you mean, or something like that?
Well,
or-
I'm just thinking some paint on them since they're all white.
I know.
I think the curb, just because it blends.
Yeah, that's,
With the road being concrete.
Right, just paint the curb side of things.
yeah, you have to just temporary.
Who's people have ran into the liquor store before?
Right.
I mean, you,
But at least they see where you're turning, I mean, you know.
Who's
for-
supposed to be striping it or painting it or?
Actually, we had
patching it
TJ go out and stripe those
or-
ones.
The parking spaces,
Yeah, but we didn't do anything else.
but like, is it GM is
It would
supposed to
be
do that next year?
GM
But
eventually.
it won't be temporary. It won't be until next year. But even if you took, I don't know if you have temp yellow and just marked, so even if it fades out and not permanent, but just so you can kind of see, because you're gonna get snow on that, and you're not gonna see, I mean, you guys will be fine, but there's gonna be a lot of people. I watched two from the hardware store drive right over that bump out there, and I was like, yeah, they should maybe get something out of that.
Yeah, I have had that product to me. About paint. the
We'll
curb
take
at least, or
a look at it.
Even if it's marking paint for, I could probably bring home a couple cans of paint. I got pink survey paint all the time. Other than that, I think it looks awesome.
I really like it.
Yeah.
When we paint, you know, detract from how nice it looks overall.
Oh, it'll be really fun.
I've got visions of my son who spreads out there with a can of paint, going, yeah, they should be.
I have visions of people doing the Dukes of Hazzard over them.
Yeah, that's kind of,
Grocery store did put the cut cones up
yeah.
where the old entrance is, because I'm guessing people were driving off there. So,
Even thinking that.
You laughed, Michelle, was that you or what?
No, but Jeff did say that the first day that it was done, he parked at the bakery and went straight.
So he was the one of the people.
there's a curve there.
I didn't see him.
So yeah,
But it's all
he
like-
learned a lesson. He's like,
Sounds like a
you
lesson,
just, it's a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to adjust the habit. And then the truck gets hard to see, so. Sorry.
You got anybody doing alignments and stuff?
Maybe the one of us.
Yeah.
Main Street curb special. Anything else on workshop?
Just want to remind everybody that City Hall is closed on Friday. Day after it's Black Friday, you gotta go shopping, I don't know. But
I don't think there's anything else.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
You think that was it?